There we go. Let's get that recording so we can go. So, private team meeting Wednesday, July 2nd. Here we go. Look at that. All those money makers up there looking at me, staring back at me on the screen. That's what I love to see. Um, we are having a little bit of issues, just FYI, on brokers at the moment in America. Um, because obviously there's been some kind of movement with the FTC or SEC or somebody, and a lot of brokers are backing out of the US market. So if you're in Canada or in Europe, it doesn't affect you. But I know Jim especially has been working diligently on trying to find some options for us here in the States. And I've been looking at various options as well. We can't, well, I can't as an educator um, recommend any brokers directly, but I can certainly allow other people to post what brokers they're using in the chats. What I don't allow in the chats is if there's any links because of the affiliation stuff of anyone I don't know. I don't like so if Jim posted an affiliate link, I would allow that because I know he's thoroughly investigated it and he knows it's good and would pass it on. And if there's an affiliate program attached to it, that would be secondary. But with other people that I don't know, I have no idea whether they're posting an affiliate link just because they want to make money on the affiliate. I don't know whether they've, used it themselves. I don't know how successful it is. I don't know whether they've made withdrawals and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm very careful on the Sniper Pro Telegram chat with people doing that. I did this morning. I did actually restrict a few people this morning because they were getting a little bit out of hand in terms of talking about stuff that I didn't think belonged in the Sniper Pro chat. Not that it's necessarily wrong, um, but I also want the Sniper Pro Telegram chat to not be confusing, to have something that has uh, a a regular message in there so when people start posting about trend wave or other scanners or something they've seen on YouTube or something like that, to me that's just a lot of noise that we don't need. And funnily enough, which is equally annoying in many ways, is hey, there's Emma. You still in Fiji, Emma?
I just arrived back late last night,
Oh,
back home.
okay, good, good, good. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome.
So I'm
um
zooming from bed. So
No, good,
hi.
good, good. Well, I was just finishing off this. So, a lot of people that are reacting to that and posting that stuff, funnily enough, are very often the new people that haven't even got a grasp of Sniper Pro yet. And it's the shiny object syndrome. Somebody says, "Oh yeah, I use Sniper Pro with TrendWave." It's like, "Oh, send me a link to show me how to do that." Send me the YouTube. It's not that it might not have any value. It might have value. I don't know, but I don't want to have to take the time to investigate it. As much as I love being an educator and teaching everybody, I also am a trader. I also have other things to do. And I'd much rather, if I'm running the Sniper Pro Telegram chat, I'd much rather do it in a way that offers value to everyone rather than tries to confuse people or send people down, wild goose chases on this weird and wonderful new stuff, new shiny object, new this, new that, new thing. And my training is very consistent, and I want Sniper Telegram chat to be very consistent. This is Sniper Pro. That's what we discuss. If you want to discuss Trendwave or Killshot, you can go to their Telegrams or Discords or wherever they are. I want my message to be consistent to everyone, especially the new folk like you guys. You can see through that noise. You can see through that that clatter and that shiny object stuff. But a lot of these people, they don't even know where to find the boot camps in the channel, let alone, start combining, Trendwave with Sniper Pro or Smart Money Concepts or, whatever. And I also posted in there a little bit of a reminder that, as educators in GFU, and this isn't to, blow my own horn, but, this is something for you to know and something that you can pass on to your people as well, is, we have to be audited. The company audits us 4 times a year. We have to show our trading results. We have to show that we're growing our channels. They've got a lot of software running in the background, measuring all kinds of metrics on the educators. How long people stay on the calls. Not these Zoom calls; these are private. But how long people are on the channels. What are they looking for? Are they watching the recordings? Are they watching all the recordings? Do people jump on and jump off of the channel? How many people are watching live? How many people are watching recordings? All that kind of stuff is all measured, and we have to pass through, all these hoops to stay as an educator. And a few people have been bumped out of being an educator because they are, pretty strict on who they allow to present the GFU strategies because they want to be professional. They want to have the best educators they can find. I'm not saying I'm the best, but the best that they can find, um, uh, being able to teach this stuff. So, the other thing is, I do encourage you to, be active in the chats. If you see something that you like, if you see a good setup. Again, they put in the chat today that if you see setups, we don't have alerts right now. So I thought it might be a good idea if people see a good setup, put it in the chat. Make sure it meets the rules. So the rules that I put in there is let's just do the scorecard setups for now, because otherwise, if we do the setups, Jim and I, we're taking Super Sniper Arrow setups. We're taking other setups where there's no Super Sniper and there's no scorecard. But that's advanced. I don't want to confuse the group. Don't forget, we've got nearly 1,200 people in that group now and all different levels. So I don't want to overly complicate the group by going into advanced strategies as much as I can. So what I put in there is if you see a scorecard, and an entry around that scorecard. And, around that scorecard, meaning obviously we're waiting for a blue arrow, blue candle, we're waiting for blue trend direction, blue snake, et cetera, et cetera. If we get divergence, if we get PSAR flip, et cetera, that's all well and good. Just put that in the chat, no promises, and the other thing that's good about the scorecard is it becomes compliant because we're not telling people, here's TP1, here's TP2. Sniper Pro is showing that on the scorecard, whereas on a Sniper Pro, on a Super Sniper Arrow, we have to delve in a little bit deeper as to where our TP1s and TP2s are going to be based on Fibonacci, based on pivot points, based on previous structure, et cetera, et cetera. So if you see anything, I put the kind of the outline in the chat, but basically, tell us when it is in your time zone. So, don't worry about converting it. I'm going to put all mine as PST, but put PST if you're on GMT. If Ellie's posting in a setup that she sees on GPP JPY, then hers would say, okay, I was on the 5 minute on GJ at 5 p.m. GMT. I saw a +5 blue scorecard for a buy. The entry was 2 candles later when we got the crossover. We got the blue arrow, blue candle. We got a blue trend direction. 2 candles before that, we had divergence. But no promises. We can see where TP1 and TP2 are. We can see where the stop loss is. So just like a little alert, that's all you have to put. Hey, scorecard just popped up on Bitcoin. on the 30-minute at 7 a.m. PST time. Looks like the entry was at 7 o'clock. The scorecard was at 7 o'clock, but the entry was at 7:10. Something like that. And that's all we have to do. No promises, no telling people, where the stop loss is and everything. And that'll just give people some little alerts. People could go and look at it. If they take it, they take it. If not, they can go and look back at that time frame and see what happened and where it went and all that kind of stuff. Does that sound good for everybody? Good, good, good. Especially you, Jim. You're sneaky. You get in those trades when I'm on my call without even telling me.
I
Well, not
agree.
today.
Not
The
today. Okay,
market
good.
is sideways right now.
Yeah. Hey, Alexis, good to see you on. Where
Good
are
to
you?
be
You
here.
in Jersey, Guernsey? Where are you?
Jersey today and London tomorrow.
London tomorrow. Good, cool, cool. Good to have you on. Nice,
Good to be
nice,
here.
nice. So I was just for Emma and Alexis who joined us a little later. I'm going to stop the Monday ones, Emma, because that doesn't seem to be, um, these times seem better to you, this time of the day. And obviously, Ellie and Alexis can get on. It's a good time for them. And the Monday one, a lot of people are working, they're working over here as well. So I'm going to knock
Works
the
for
one for
me.
Monday. It doesn't mean forever, just for foreseeable future. If we get some other interest at other time frames, I might even do later ones if we need to catch people at other time. I mean, I wish there was some good trading over the weekend other than crypto, because then we could do some calls over the weekend. But I might be open to that as well. If we need to do a Saturday call, do it early, for me before I do anything. I get up anyway. I mean, I say I lay in. I never, I'm always up before my alarm. My alarm in the week is 4:44. I always wake up before that. And my alarm at the weekend, so I have a lay in is I don't even know what the alarm is because I'm always up. What's my weekend alarm is what, 7:30 maybe? Yeah, something like 7:30. So, but we can discuss that. So right now we're just doing the Wednesday Zooms, so that we can, catch up and have a chat and have a look at different things and discuss different things. So if we get a bunch of other people, for instance, if we get a whole bunch of new team members, I could do maybe a new member orientation call on a Monday or something like that, just for new members, so you can send team members to it. So, any kind of suggestions like that you think would help the team, would help your team, would help your business if you go around the business side, let me know, and I can look at those and see whether that's something that I'd be willing to do and have the time to do as well. So those Monday ones were originally designed to help, new team members, but we just didn't get enough numbers on there. Most people were working, so I think that was the issue there. But maybe a new team member orientation at the weekend might be good. Where we're not actually trading, we're doing other orientation in the thing. So that's another option. Anyway, all those things we can discuss. Um, Anyone have anything particular they want to go through today? Any other questions or anything? One thing I did get a question with about divergence. Does everyone on here know how divergence works? Does anyone not know how divergence works? So I can show you quickly. Does
I'm
anyone
almost
know,
I'm
does
always
anyone know how
conceding.
divergence works and wants me to show them anyway?
Yes, please.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
I don't know how anything works. So
Okay.
I don't want to be the dead weight slowing you all down, but yes, I'd love if you could go through it, please.
All
It's
right. Well,
always
it's,
good to
it's
have a
very
reminder.
Yeah, it's very simple. That's what these calls are for, guys. Look, we've
Mm.
got people at all levels here, and even if you think it's a beginner's call, don't forget, other people on the call who are more advanced might be getting these same questions as well. So, you want to be sure that you've got the answer to these. But it's very, very simple. Let me share my screen just so I can show you. I mean, at the end of the day, basically, all you need. Can you see that screen? Okay. Is it the chart?
Yeah,
I can see it. Thank you.
Okay. Um, so basically, all you really need to know is when you see a little golden D come up, that's divergence. That's it. Sniper Pro does it for you. But how does it calculate? I'll show you. So what happens is, as you know, this Sniper Later snake down here, or maybe you don't know, has a lot of stuff built into it. It's got an RSI in here, it's got a TDI, and it's got a stochastic in here. We all traded on those on Sniper. We traded on them on Impulse. If you're in the last company. Um, very often people will have an oscillator. They're called an oscillator. That's why it's called a sniperlator, because I think Manny came up with that idea, not me. So what we did is we took all the best features of the RSI, the stochastic, and the TDI and combined it into this sniperlator. This is why the sniperlator was so powerful. And this is why I was kind of getting ticked off, because it had gone out of whack, and it was out of whack for several weeks. And, the sniperlator is vitally important for a lot of your confirmations. Um, so not only, oversold and overbought, which we're all used to, but the trend direction built in there. Now on my last scanner that I used to do, my last company, we used the MACD, which is another oscillator, and this has some of the components of the MACD in it as well. But all the things that you see on there are all dynamically linked. And there's a lot of things going on in the background that you can't see there, which trigger those positions, they trigger those colors, they trigger those bands, those dynamic bands that go in and out, the oversold and the overbought bands that go in and out. The broad colored band at the top here, the red band across the top, and the blue band along the bottom. These are, they're at, 95 to 100%, 90 to 100% at the top, and, 10% to zero at the bottom. When you go in those oversold or overbought, they do go into them a couple of times. You're really oversold or you're really overbought. But these other lines here, these ones that move dynamically, are also oversold and overbought. And you can see most other ones, they're very static. They're exactly at the 30 and the 70, or the 20 and the 80, or the 40 and the 60, whatever it might be. And ours are very dynamic, so they're that much more accurate. But built into that, there's a lot of stuff you can't even see. So you see the PSARs up here on the chart. We have PSARs built into this. We have pivot points built into this. We have super trends. We have Ichimoku cloud. We have half trends. We have channel multipliers. We have EMAs. We have short and long Kalmans. We have all kinds of stuff in there. You don't need to know all that, guys, because that's what powers it. That's why we make it red and blue, because all you need to know is it red and blue. The only reason I changed the divergence to gold is because they were red and blue before, but you just couldn't see them. Just couldn't see them properly, especially if you're looking at a phone. So we changed them to gold so we could see them clearly. That's the only reason. So typically that would be red, means it's going down, and the one at the bottom would be blue, means it's going up. But I did change them to gold so we could see them. Same as these volume numbers, we couldn't see them they were gold. When I say gold, they're more yellow because even gold doesn't show up that well. These volume ones here were gold and now they're yellow, so we can see them a bit more. Anyway, divergence basically means that our sniper later snake, which again is built on a lot of things, is moving in the opposite direction to the candles. So what does that mean? You can see this line here. So if we draw a trend line from there to there, you can see quite clearly the line is going down, correct? And if we draw the same line on the exactly above, if we go to this candle here, which is above that one there, we can see the trend line is going up. That's what divergence means, guys, is the lines are going away from each other. The opposite of divergence is confluent. That means they're going in the same direction. Okay? So if this line is going down here and this line is going down here, they're both going down. That's confluence. That means continuation. When they change direction and they are not both heading in the same direction, that's what we call divergence. You could draw it there, you could draw it here. Whichever way you do it, you have to make sure you're going from candle to candle. Okay? And if one is heading up and one is heading down, that means divergence. If it's the opposite, if one is heading down, one's heading up, that's also divergence. That's it. That's what divergence is. You don't have to worry about it. Why? Because Sniper Pro will call it out for you. That's just what's going on behind it in a simplified way. Does that make sense for everybody?
It does for me. Thank you.
Okay, and that's the pattern that causes that D to appear and tell us it's going down. And we know there's very few. Now, I can't say that that's 100%. I don't know. Jim, have you? Oh, he's zoomed out. I was going to ask Jim. Oh, he's back. Have you ever seen divergence not work, Jim? I've seen it work later than, it doesn't work exactly on time. Sometimes it'll happen later. And sometimes it will be very, very short, literally a couple of candles of divergence. So it'll pull back and then start going up again. But in very few instances that I've seen it not work, but I have seen it. What about you, Jim?
I mean, divergence is very powerful. There's usually some type of pullback, not necessarily always a reversal. But it's definitely, if you're in a trade, it's a FOB moment, finger on button if the divergence is against you. And if you get the divergence in conjunction with a key level or a super sniper or numbered card entry, then those are usually can be really powerful signals.
Yeah. And again, Sniper Pro is designed that the more signals agree with it, the more powerful it will be. So, that's why we, if we've got the PSARs, let's have a look at, we got another divergence, over here. Somewhere probably around there. Let's see if we got let's see if I can grab that one. Let's see where it is. It's probably this one here. So this is going down. This is heading up. And a lot of things happen at the same time. So exactly what Jim's talking about. We've got a super sniper arrow right there. We've got a reversal candle. We got the trend line that changed from red to blue right there. Obviously, our fast moving EMA change. We got our scorecard. We got our divergence back there. So we got this is on the 1 hour. So divergence gave you a 2 hour window to know that there's divergence coming. Okay? The snake turned from red to blue right there. That's another confirmation. The trend direction turned blue right there. That's another confirmation. Scorecard, obviously. We got some blue arrows, but they're on red candles. We can't do that. There's our first entry right there. Blue arrow, reversal candle. Fast EMAs went blue. We actually blew through the trend line in one candle there. Obviously, it's a 1 hour candle. But we also got the PSAR flip right there, as well as a bullet point on the snake. So again, when you start adding all these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the more that add up for you, the stronger that move is likely to be. Always remember that. Not necessarily just this number. This will give you a good visual idea of what's going on and what is lining up on this scorecard. But we do have to wait for the other confirmations. But divergence, as Jim said, is very, very powerful because very, very often it's going to be a leading indicator, meaning it's telling you it's coming. And there's very few indicators that tell you what's coming. Very often they'll tell you what's happening right now or what just happened, but there's very few that tell you what's going to happen. I don't know where our... Oh, blimey, you can't make that stuff up, guys. Look at that. Right on the S1. We couldn't break it here. Came down, touched it here, couldn't break it. Touched it here, couldn't break it. Off we go. You can't make that stuff up. If you look at Jim's chart now on the 1 hour on the NAS, he's got all kinds of other lines running right down there from previous structure and stuff like that. But Sniper Pro does it for you. And look at that, the R1. Can't make that stuff up, guys. Look at that. TP1 is also right on the R1. So, when you look at all this and you look at all this confluence happening, your divergence giving you the heads up, sniper later snake change direction giving you the heads up. You got 2 hours to wait for the perfect setup. By that time, you already know the S1 is supporting. What does S stand for? Stands for support. And the R1 is right here. What does R stand for? Resistance. TP1 is right on the money, right there. You would bet your house on that move right there. That is a power move right there. And that's how Sniper Pro is so good, guys. I mean, I know I always say you can't make this stuff up because I didn't even look at those pivot points. And so when I go there, it's like, holy moly. Who designed this piece of art? It's working fabulously. It really is good. Anything else that anyone wants to go over that needs clarifying or anything? Any questions that it might have? And now it's on the 1 hour, it doesn't matter. When I'm on the calls and I show everyone the 1 and 5 minute, everyone says, well, does it work on the 1 hour or the 4 hour? And then when I go the 1 hour, the 4 hour, everyone says, well, does it work for scalping? So you can't win. But you guys know it works pretty much on every time frame. We have people in the chats that are firm, day traders and swing traders, and they hate scalping. And we got other people that, they just want to be in and out the markets real quick, and that's all they want to do is scalping. So, fortunately, Sniper Pro works on it all, so it doesn't matter. So,
how do you use the divergence for like a pullback or
well, divergence, basically, you can't tell from the divergence the strength of that divergence. All you know, It's not necessary. We don't call divergence necessarily is going to cause a or indicate a reversal. It's nearly always causing a pullback. But sometimes it literally is three, four candles, and then it carries on trend. Sometimes it could be much bigger than that, and it could go for a long time. And then other times the pullback can turn into reversal. The only way you can tell is because you're adding all the other signals in there to see what's going on, and that's when that whole trade what you see comes in. Because once we get the divergence here, the divergence is here, it doesn't move. So, right there, that's where the divergence is. Not going to move, not going to go anywhere. That's where it is. We got the blue snake change from blue to red. So we know that's where it is. The red trend line didn't change till there. So, again, going by our rules, even though, we might have got an indication here of divergence. Our first entry really is that's indicated by the trend direction is there, but we're not on red arrow, red candle. So our first actual entry is this one here. And also, you also notice, again, this is why we're always looking, Scott, for different signals to confirm what we're at. Is that candle was the first one that the PSAR flipped.
Right. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, it makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
so yeah, we got divergence indicator back here, but what did we get here? We got a couple of things here that would suggest, hold on, this could be turning. What's the first thing? Here's the first thing right here is our Bollinger Band reversal zone. The closer we get to this level, for either the lower, the mid, or the top, doesn't matter. The closer we get to this, the more likely you've got to be thinking we're going to reverse because the Bollinger Bands are reversal zones. Next, we get the divergence down here, which is very, very strong. Divergence here to me is stronger than the reversals here because these reversal zones, we've got inner, middle, and outer. We don't know which one it's going to bounce off on that. And very often it'll go through those as well. So, you can see here over here, this one probably hasn't gone through, but it's right on the bottom Bollinger Band. It went through the middle and the inner one. So, but we've got heads up. Look, we're approaching the reversal zone. There's a heads up. Now we've got divergence. Now we know, yeah, we're definitely changing. Then we see a blue candle with a red outline around it right there. So we know that that means that we're getting some kind of reversal there. Then we see our snake changing from blue to red. You can add these up on your fingers, guys. We got 1, 2, 3. We've already got 4 things that Sniper Pro is telling us that, hey, we might be heading down here. 4 things that the chart's telling us we might be heading down. Now we got to apply our rules. We can't get in here. Why? We got PSARs below. We got blue arrows. Our trend line here along here is all blue. Yes, our snake turned red. So that's one confirmation. Our snake is red, but we don't have anything agreeing with it yet. We did get a red candle, red arrow in here, but we didn't get it on the trend direction. So we wait and wait and wait. Now our trend direction turned red right there, but our candle is not red. So we're waiting, waiting, waiting. Finally, we get, has that one got a red candle or is that one? That's still a blue candle. Even that one's not really right, guys, because that's got a blue arrow underneath it. See that? So that one's not even right. Even though the pieces are flipped, well, that's a blue arrow. So here is a real safe entry. Now, why is this? Because now we've got our red arrow. Now we've got a red candle. But look at this, guys. Now we went through our trend level. Jim loves this. This is Jim's trend level here. That is your safe sell right there. Doesn't mean you couldn't have got in on some of those because we did get a lot of things agreeing with us that it was time to get in. But the more signals you get that line up on Sniper Pro, the stronger the entry. And that's where patience comes into it, is waiting for those strong entries. Does that answer that question, Scott?
Sure did, yeah, in many different ways because there's lots of different scenarios there that
Yeah. So it's always how many signals are agreeing with me. It's like being in a room of experts, and if only half the room agree and half disagree, that's not really that strong. If you're having heart surgery and somebody says, "Oh yeah, let's stick in a stent," and the other surgeons say, "No, let's replace the heart," well, that doesn't give you much confidence, does it?
yeah,
Whereas, if you get, 8 or 9 of the 10 doctors saying, "Yeah, we got to do a heart transplant," you're much more comfortable in agreeing with that decision. So that's where this is. Got a whole bunch of trade surgeons sitting in there behind Sniper Pro, all giving you their opinion. And the more that line up, the stronger that's likely to be. Again, it doesn't mean it's going to be strong. It doesn't mean you're going to lose, not going to lose money. It just means that there's a higher probability that the trade's going to work out. And that's probably the thing that people have the most problems with when they're starting off, is being patient enough and disciplined enough to know what all of those things are doing. And the more of them line up, the stronger the entry is going to be. Doesn't mean you can't take earlier entries. There's some other things going on there. You might be looking at the R1 over here, and say, when it crosses down over this level here, you might have this level lined up as a level of interest, and once price drops below this level, that is your rule to get in, and you might have got in on a couple of candles before that as it broke this line. You might decide that the R2, once you bounce off the R2 up here, which pretty much bounces, come on, there we go. The R2 up here, when it wicked up and touched the R2 there, whatever that is, when we look at the higher time frames on the 4 hour, the daily, there might be something up there that tells us, yeah, if it hits that, it's resistance, we're going down. And that blue wick there that went up and wicked on it there, as well as our Bollinger Bands. Don't forget, there's a lot of calculations in these Bollinger Bands as well, of which the levels of interest are one of them. That is also giving you a heads up that we're turning around. But you can see, it looks like a lot of scribble there, guys. But, you're really looking at lots of different reasons why and when to get into that pullback. And it was a pullback down to this S1. S1 now is quite an area of interest here because, we hit it once, we hit it twice, we hit it 3 times. Is that going to be tested again before we come back down and head back down here? We got to see what's going on there. In the meantime, our purple EMA is going to continue coming up here, and eventually it's going to hit the S2 here in a few hours, and then it could go up to the S1 in a couple of days. A golden one is, I don't know where that is. There it is, right down there. I mean, we're a long way away from that, but you know, God, the last time we hit it was miles away. It was right back here. What was that? April 25th, April 30th. So over a month ago was the last time we hit the 987. But, eventually it's going to come down and hit this before maybe shooting up again. So, that's why we trade what we see, guys. A fantastic scanner this is. Can't believe it. All right, let's get 20 drawings here on there. All right, let's get rid of all of them. Any questions on that or anything else, guys?
I'm quite curious about. It was really kind of Jim to post the holiday trading hours because I, over in New Zealand, wasn't aware. How would you trade differently with the holiday hours, please?
Well, most of them you're not going to trade at all because it's closed.
Mm, mm,
So the good thing about those charts that Jim posted is it breaks down by asset which ones are going to be tradable and which ones aren't.
mm,
Very often, if you've got a lot of retail traders still wanting to trade, they're obviously going to be switching over to crypto to trade on those. But the July 4th is is the US holiday. So you have to, with those charts, you first have to look at whose holiday it is. Because if it's the US holiday, then that's going to affect the New York and the US exchanges like the NAS, New York, US 30, anything if you're trading stocks, obviously USA stocks, etc., because the exchange is closed. Very often the European ones are open or the Asian ones are open. So, you could switch to DAX, a German 30. You can switch to the UK, the FTSE, if you're doing indices, Brent oil might be moving more than US oil, things like that. You're going to see more if you're trading Forex. You could possibly see less volume and less trading on the USD pairs and more trading on the euro, the GBP, the JPY, etc. So those charts that Jim posts give you a lot of insight into what is being traded and what isn't being traded anyway. But the other thing to remember, New York session is a massive, massive session in terms of, market. So if New York session is there, all that volume of New York session, don't forget, we're little itty bitty retail traders. We're just trying to grab hold of the coattails of all these big guys. And if the big guys aren't in there moving the stuff around, then the markets are not going to move around much. So again, we have to think about volumes, volatility. Is it gonna move in a very narrow range? We have to look at the size of the candles. Each candle, instead of being 10 or 20 pips, is each candle only 2 or 3 pips? Well, it's a lot harder to make money when the candles are very small because you've got a spread pretty much on everything that you trade. So whenever you enter a trade, no matter what it is, the second you enter a trade, you're already losing money. And you have to make up that spread before you break even. And then obviously after that, you go into profit. So, holiday, most people will just not trade. Like, I'm not going to be trading at all on Friday. But I'm in the US, If you trade, if you trade, Euro NZD or, AUD NZD or any of those, then, at different time frames. If you don't trade during New York Open, it probably is not going to affect you much.
Hmm.
So if you're
Yeah,
trading London
I
session,
don't. I trade
right?
London session.
Yeah. So that's why those charts are real good because it will show you which sessions are open, which sessions are closed. That particular chart happens to tell you what's going on for July 4th. But we have holidays, all around the world. And so that, those charts are posted so we know what sessions open and what isn't and what we can and can't trade. But
Thank
if
you.
you're trading any time that your New York session might be open, you are going to see reduced volumes.
Hmm.
Good question, no?
Thank you.
All right, guys, anything else? Otherwise, we'd hop off. Not that I don't want to stay on and see your lovely faces, but no, nothing good, nothing good. Everyone okay with Wednesdays at the same time? If we need to move it an hour each way, I can do that as well. So
I'm
it's not a
I'm
big.
happy. I'm
I'm good,
happy with
yeah.
the
Good
time.
time, yeah, for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Well, we'll keep it there then. It seems to be a good time for everybody so that they don't have to worry. And, even people here in the States, obviously, it's still the middle of the day, but what can we do? Because we're worldwide, every time is going to be, good for some people and not good for the others. I've got, it's just what we're going to do. Oh, I do have to tell you guys on Tuesday, if you can't get on the call, I'm going to have a friend of mine on the call on Tuesday, Claudia Dalchow. I met her in Munich, became firm friends over there. She's one of the mindset coaches, and she's going to be on Tuesday. It won't be a live session, live analysis session. It'll be a live session, but we probably won't be able to look at the charts on Tuesday. So if you only want to look at the charts, Tuesday's not your time. Um, but she is a keynote speaker. She's a university lecturer. She's a high performance coach. She's a mindset coach. She has over 20 years experience. Um, she's very charismatic. She is German. She has a German accent, but speaks perfect English. Um, and she's going to show you different things about um, mindset, about characters, about neurobiology, neuroscience, and stuff like that. She's helped over 30,000 people across 46 countries, and helped them with other things, not just training, but with developing teams, developing management styles, developing, how to do effective webinars and Zooms and things like that. Okay. How to look good on Zooms, facial expressions, body language, the four personality types, the yellow, green, red, and blue, stuff like that. I mean, fascinating stuff, way more than I can do on my mindset and trading. And we were going to do it on Sunday on mindset and my session, mindset and trading. But we also felt that, for some reason or other, we have three times as many people on our live analysis calls on Tuesday and Thursday because everybody wants to, when do I get in? When do I get in? When do I get in? Rather than, the actual more important stuff about the mindset of how to become a successful trader. And so we decided not to do it on a Sunday. We're doing it on a Tuesday, even though we can't do live analysis. But I think it's important if you can't get on, definitely earmark that for watching the recording
And
at your leisure, because I think it's going to be a dynamite call.
John, John, can
Thank
I
you.
just say on that topic?
Yeah.
Yes, Claudia is absolutely awesome. And anybody that can't get on the Tuesday one, she's about to start her call right now. So she used to do her mindset call at 7 p.m., but she changed it because of this call. So last week she messaged me and said, "You haven't been on my call." I'm like, "Oh, because I'm kind of on John's." And she's like, if I push it back an hour. So she has pushed her entire call back to 8 p.m., which is starting like in a couple of minutes, just because of us. So
Oh,
just
excellent,
no.
excellent.
So in
If
the
you want
next
to
like
jump on that, yeah, if you want to jump on that
so in
call,
8 minutes she's going to be starting, and she's teaching us about green personality types tonight.
that's right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to
So
jump on that call and get a heads up of that, go and do that. She's in the Mindset Academy, not the Forex Academy. So go and do that. Alexis met her as well in Munich. I met her in Munich. In fact, Claudia was staying in the same hotel. We stayed in the corporate hotel over there. So, that's how I got to know a lot of these guys, and we connected, not just Manny, but a lot of the top leaders, and a lot of the other educators. We were all staying in the same hotel. We were sharing Ubers, and we were eating out together and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely jump on her calls if you get on those. Coach Clarissa out of the Philippines, she's also a fantastic coach. She does them over at the weekend. You'll see in her. I can't remember whether she's in the Mindset Academy, but yeah, she's either Saturday morning or Sunday morning, fairly early for the US, probably early afternoon for the UK. She's another very, very good mindset coach. I was on her session a couple of weeks ago. And the only reason I didn't have her on mine is because I don't know how to co-host it on Gifu yet. So I'm actually having one of the Gifu guys jump on a Zoom with me in about an hour so that he can show me how I can set my streaming service up, the OBS, so I can co-host with Claudia for Tuesday. So, yeah, go and look at hers, guys. If you got time, jump on her call. She's going over the green personality. I think she's already been through all the others already, hasn't she, Alexis? Or
I,
is this the
I think
last one?
I think she's got blues left to do, because
Blues
obviously
left. Okay.
there's a lot of reds in the industry,
Yeah,
and I'm a
yeah.
very yellow, so I'm looking forward to hearing about greens and blues next.
Perfect. Well, that's great information. Thanks for that, Alexis.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks very much. I'm going to
Thank
let's make
you.
sure I stop the
Thanks a lot.
recording.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Thanks.